as soon as we seen the stills without seeing the footage, in my opinion, at that moment in time, and with my colleagues and obviously discussing with yourself, it was a penalty kick. And it doesn't matter how you get there.
It's even worse when you watch the video, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that by listening to the audio that was released today, it makes it even more damning. I think Willie Collum, just as rightly said, I think Willie Collum's handled it absolutely fantastically. The way he spoke, he didn't duck any questions. He spoke very clearly, concisely about what the expectations were. He talked you through the audio, the dialogue that was going on between the VAR, the assistant VAR, the match referee. At the end of the day, these guys have made a monumental error in a massively big, important cup final. And Willie hasn't ducked that, and he's fronted it up, and he's spoken about the transparency that he wants to offer. He's spoken about the accountability. He's spoken about the repercussions that would go on. And while no one wants to see anybody chastised in their work, just don't see, as I said at the time, how with the technology available and the time that they have to look at it, it was rushed, and it was rushed wrongly. And unfortunately, one team has come out the wrong way.
That's the crazy bit, though, wasn't it? But this is VAR in a nutshell. We all complain, don't we, when they take too long to come to a decision, when it takes 2 and 3 minutes. How can it take them that long? But you see, there's an example of, I think Willie used the word forensic. They weren't forensic enough in the way that they examined the evidence in front of them. I just find it impossible to understand. And I know that Willie makes the point there, it doesn't matter where Czerny's foot is. In fact, Czerny's foot is clearly planted in the line. It's where is the actual the tug happening. But you can see that that's inside of Czerny. Yeah. So his right foot is on the line. The jumper's getting pulled away from it on the ins. It can't be anything else. And for the VAR officials to be sitting there looking at that or not looking at it, it's a bad mess. And I think where Willie has dealt with it really well is, like he's saying, people are going to look at this and they're going to be unhappy and they're not going to accept it because he knows he's not daft and he's right, but he's been dropped in it a little bit, but he's fronted it up and he's fronted it up well.
I think it's probably the first time that we've seen a head of refereeing in Scotland actually front up, other than saying that they're fielding phone calls on a Monday, which I understand, that's going to happen. But this thing grew arms and legs. It did so. I think it's consumed just about every bit of media, certainly every bit of work conversations and WhatsApps and messages that people are getting. Okay, it's taken them 4 days to do it. What I would like to have seen was, I'd like to see him address it pretty much quicker. That's probably the only thing that I think maybe would have put this to bed.
He said that on the Tuesday, I think he had a meeting with the refs to discuss it internally, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he said on Monday they spoke with the VARs, and there are 3 specialist VARs, of which Alan Muir is one of them, to go through the protocol and the process, etc. So again, that's him addressing it head on. And like a manager, you don't want to throw your players under the bus and explain what's went wrong and air your dirty linen. Didn't need to have to do that. But what could have said is, we've recognised that there's an issue and we're dealing with it. But let's be honest, everybody could see there was an issue with that decision. VAR works, the technology works, it's the people operating it. And I'm really surprised someone as experienced as both Alan Muir and Frank Connor got it wrong, because they've operated in these games.
But even Des, you're right. See, with one set of eyes, there's maybe that's okay. You kind of understand it. One guy's interpretation. 2 guys sitting there, 2 sets of eyes on that. It's hard. It's hard to understand.
I think there's a telling point as well. He said that while they were discussing that, Alan Muir made the comment that that's outside the box, isn't it? Apparently, Frank Connor was doing the paperwork to record the yellow card, so potentially wasn't paying the 100% attention that decision required at that moment in time. See, if you know the yellow card has been administered or has been shown, you can do that administration 2 or 3 minutes later when the ball's going out for a throw-in. Surely at that moment in time, the most important thing is your eyes are on the game and you're making a call. And again, I'll give Willie's credit. saying that Alan offered them a closed question, but there wasn't really a response to it. It was, it's not a penalty kick. Do you agree? Rather than saying, I'm saying it's not a penalty kick. What is your opinion? Open it up, because these situations are what Daniel Corr thinks and what Keith Jackson thinks, maybe two different things. What I think, if I say to you, Keith, that's a penalty kick. Do you agree with me? You can either say yes or no, and then you invite further question.
Daniel's given a penalty to Celtic.
Listen, I'm a professional.
Yeah, as are the referees, and this is the bit that I don't want it to go down. I don't want to go down the route of people thinking that Alan Muir supports X and Frank Corn supports Y, and we do know that there are people saying and having senseless. These are professional guys. They'll be the guys that are hurting most at this moment in time. These are the guys that are hurting most because they've made a monumental error on a national stage, and none of them went out to make that error. But you have to own that error